Well, hello there, and welcome to my channel again. Um, Thank you to the people who have contacted me and reminded me that I hadn't possibly shown all the suits with the cards. I sort of thought I did at the beginning. I'd gone through each one overall, but I sat and went through my own videos and realised that I could sort of extend on it all a little bit, so I've just sort of decided to do that. So I'm just going to change the camera over. Before I do that, I'm going to be using my cards with the writing on them. The reason being is I can often go have stretches where I don't do playing card readings. And one of the good things is if you get a deck and you write on it for yourself, it's a really good practice deck, and it's also good to have that deck kept. So if you have to quickly work with it, you can, or if you're going to be going and doing a market or an event or a party or whatever, you can brush up on it and familiarize yourself all over again quite easily, and then start reading your cards that are, what do you call them? You know, like you saw me reading the Marvel cards and things. So for the purpose of the video, I'm going to use the training deck, and that way I won't leave anything out rather than relying on my memory of it, because reading's an interesting thing. When I read cards for an individual, even if it's online, direct, when I was reading on a platform streaming, or if I've got someone face to face, for some reason, I tune into the energy of the person and I look at the card and it just comes. But if I have to sit there and say what a card is, and in any old context, I sort of can struggle with that a little bit. So there's lots of reasons. Also, you might find in your journey of cartomancy with playing cards that you start playing and learning other people's systems, because there's many systems. Some of them overlap, some of them are completely different, and you will then keep your cards pertaining to that system. So when you go, I want to read with the Maggie system, I think it is, you can pull that deck out and start familiarizing yourself all over again, which is way better than flipping through books and messing around like that. So there you have it. So I'm going to change cameras now and just do this follow-up for people. And once again, I thank you so much for your support and for talking to me about it. Here we go. So just a quick reminder, I think I did videos on the hearts, so I won't go through all the hearts by themselves, but when you have hearts in a reading, they're the home, they're family, they're who you live with, they're who you drink with, people you get on with. It's family, friends. Things flow with hearts. And so also in this system, there's summer, water, and the south. So if you're doing a reading and someone says, I don't know where I've left my car keys, you say, well, let's look at the cards, and you can do a reading. And if it come up all hearts, you can say, well, this is the house and the bedroom. Perhaps you left them in the bedroom. And it's also, if you're doing health readings, which I often do, because people come to me about wellness or someone they're worried about being sick, I don't diagnose with them. So just to make sure you understand that. But some people want to talk about their health or a health member they're concerned about, and it's a good idea. You can just sort of talk in a general sense about it, but also you must give the advice that you are not a doctor and you do not prescribe, and that goes with the money and being a financier and all that stuff. So just it's best to stick it to health and well-being, but say, look, these don't just say you got all spades. You say, look, these cards aren't saying something good. I suggest you get yourself up to your doctor and have that checked out. is always a good caveat, and that even goes if you're talking to a neighbour over the back fence, in my opinion, because you may not know it, but I've got 35 years of being a registered nurse. So there you go. I think I've made that clear. So the cards are also, because they're fluid in this system, would be the circulatory system, the blood. So that would be people, their heart, obviously, and also their circulatory system, which many people with aging, with the baby boomers and that, is something they're concerned about. They walk because it improves their lungs and circulatory system. So there you have it. And I think I've covered those before. And once again with the diamond, and they're red cards, so red is good as well. And also this is a definite, if you get a heart at the end of the reading, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and things are going to flow for you. Also, diamonds are about money, thinking about money, spending money, managing your money, worrying about money. And they are spring in this system, fire, and the east. And also, if you are looking for something in the house, where did I leave that bag of money that so-and-so gave me? Well, it would be the ceiling, kitchen, or dining room. You never know. You'd be surprised what people will come and ask you for a reading for. And it may not come up in the general reading, but sometimes when they go to leave, they go, oh, you don't happen to know, use the cards to look where so-and-so is, because I've put changed my will and put it away, and you know the hell, I can't remember where it is. And you can say, just let's have a look and see what the cards say. So it's not you, it's what the cards say. And that should sort of keep you out of a lot of trouble. So covered that in the last spreads. So now we're going to look at the black cards. And also if a diamond is at the end of a reading, I'm just going over things from the other videos quickly. If a diamond is at the end of the reading, there's a good chance it's a maybe. Because remember we did black, warm, cold, and all those things, just looking at the colours of the suits, if you go back over those videos that I put up earlier. So here we have the bad and the ugly. No, not really. I'll start with the clubs. They are work. They are the muscular system, the floor of the house, autumn. They are air in this system because they are wood, trees. Trees survive on air, and they generally are, if you're looking at a directional, working directionally, it would be the west. So obviously with the aces, it is a new opportunity, a new job opportunity, or a new task. But it also can be that creativity, like, because the clubs are, did I say wands? Because they're very similar. If you're going to be linking playing cards to tarot with this system, it's very similar. They are the building blocks, the building things, the making of houses, anything that you make wood with, the floorboards. And so that can be a creative thing when an ace of club turns up. It can also be a contract being offered to you and news of work. And it also, because it looks like a little clover, it can be a little bit of luck there. So, you know, might be lucky you get that job. They're going to maybe get off that job to you, that type of thing. So here we have the two of clubs. And as you can see with the, we'll look at looking at the cards too, but the two clubs are spaced apart. So there's a bit of a weight there. There's a gap there. So it's the repeat of this. So it's a repeating cycle, but it's also using your work. It's the interactions between two people at work or negotiations. Once again, there's an opportunity with it, and there's a relevant, and it can be a beneficial exchange with this, because clubs are beneficial over spades, which we'll get into later. So then we have 3. So there's developments growing. So as we went before, beginnings, together, working apart. But then again, you have 3 where things are growing. There's something extra. So being a card of work, in general sense, it's possibly that you've been offered a bit of extra work, a bit of part-time work, or there's some help coming from someone to do some work. Moving forward, that bit by bit with this 3rd card, that moving forward. 4, you've got 4 looking at the card, so you've got stability, reliable contracts, rewarded for your work effort. Your goals are firm with work. They've offered you another 3 months contract or something like that, so you're feeling that security with it. But being a 4 can also be solid and stagnant, so perhaps you're bored at work. So once again, it's in context to the question, to what you're asking the cards or what the person has asked you. It can also be a desk. As you see, I've written over these over the years, and I think about them and look at them, and different things come up. So these are my old faithfuls. There's also, when you look at this, stagnant, nothing stays still for long, because 4 then rolls into a 5, which means you look to the next card, what's happening next. And then you have 5, which is, as we looked before, is a number of action, doing things. So this can be like interviews, could be a panel interview. Just in case I didn't say the thing, it's autumn, air and west facing, and the muscular system and the floor of the house, just to sort of refer on what I've told you. So things are moving because of your actions. It can be working with your hands. It can be cleaning up the mess. And also you can be put in charge of a team at work. So cards have many layers of meanings, and as I said, it's contextual to what's been asked. 6, as you see, the rows are back on track. You're working towards your goal. You're back on track with that. Things are progressing the way you want them to progress. It's also the sharing of ideas. And there's also a sense of initiative with it. It's also a sense of success, because achievement is there. There's also education, because they look like, sometimes I think they look like students in that exam situation of a being at school, the rows at the desks and things. So there's also could be, once again, a panel interview. So that is the 6. 7s, as we talked about before, are usually a little bit dodgy, trouble and spice. Things are happening with them, because evens are sort of tend to be stable in a sense. 3 odds tend to be action, movement again. So maybe there's some trouble at work. Maybe something's going to change. Maybe someone is the fly in the ointment. But then again, maybe you have to maybe you've become bored at work and you have to make the best of the situation. But with a 7, you have the power to make it happen, because there you are as the individual. And it can be a spiritual study as well with the 7 of clubs, because study can be work as well. So maybe you're in a little group workshop. It can be coincidences. So then we get to the 8, and things are in order, but sort of in order. There's a pattern here. So it's about things aren't happening yet, but everything's in place to happen. There's no action yet, because it's a even number. So it's sort of stagnating a little bit. So things have improved on the 6. Maybe you've got more people to help with the workload. The targets are getting met. once again, it can be a job interview card too, because 8s can be social. Like if you're in the 8 of card, you're at a party with a group, because it's a little group scene thing. So it could be a conference with work people, colleagues and things like that. Plans are getting made. These 2 are planning about some event here. So there's talk, negotiations about work once again. So, and things have also, as I said, improved, because you were struggling with the 5, then things got in order. As we move through the cards, things are getting better. Should have put them in a line. And then we have the 9, sorting out our priorities. Going back to work when you've been away. Maybe you're the one promotion and all eyes are on you. It can be a discipline, learning to fit in with the rest of people. But there's also an opposition to ideas in this, but in a negotiation sense, not in a sense of nastiness, more in, we're going to have to convince them and sell them that idea, to do that in a negotiation sense with it. So it can be busy as well, and as I said, opposition to ideas, because with these ones you always seem to have the fly in the ointment, don't you? But not in a hateful sense, something that needs to be worked out. And of course then you have 10. There's lots of work piling up on you, and when you see lots of things happening, progress is happening. It's also 10, being a 10 is a completion. And also what also happens with this card is it's often a travel card. So because travel by air, because the clubs or wands, I've been calling them wands again, sorry about that. I've had a big day on tarot, so please forgive me. There you go. Rods, wands, clubs. But it's also an increase in business, an increase in your workload. But also it could be a completion of the project that we all got in, pitched in and got it done, got that order out for the company, and away we go. Looking at people, you have the Jack. He's hardworking, he's young, he's busy, he likes to play sport as well. So he's that typical young person at work who plays sport out of hours of work, and you can also but then rely on him. And he's a good sort of all-rounder, and he's also good at, he knows lots of people. Like a lot of people that I read for, they're often tradies, and they play indoor cricket, we'll say, at night, but you can totally rely on them to get the job done. They'll say, well, I've got to go that tonight, but I'll come in afterwards and I can help with that, or I'll be in early tomorrow morning. That is your typical Jack of clubs. And your Queen's a good businesswoman. She's career orientated, she's very creative, and she works behind the scenes, as all Queens do, and she's very efficient, but she can also be the grandmother, helping out behind the scenes with the family. And then we have the King, who is good at business. He's an advisor. I always sort of often see him as like a builder or a work contractor or project manager. That's what I was thinking of, because he plans and he works, and he gets the ability to make things happen, and he likes to be active. However, the downside is with the King of Clubs is he can get a bit down in the quiet time, we'll say, at the work. Just as an example, I used to live up in North Queensland, and I knew someone that was a builder that was this personality of the King of Clubs, and he used to be fine until the wet season set in, and they're sitting around a lot because of the rain and everything slows down in that climate, and all of a sudden can be a bit down and looking forward to when work starts up again. So there you have the clubs. Then we're going to do the spades next. Or swords in tarot. So in this system, the spades are winter, earth, because we dig with the earth, and they are also the north. So the ace of spade can be a beginning or an ending, where I know most aces are beginnings, but with that stabby point, it could be the final blow. It can be a difficult relationship if it's beside hearts, but it also can be powerful and strong. It can be a stressful card because swords are generally our obstacles, challenges and stresses. And also they can be a decision card that's not an easy decision to make. It's the spare bones of the skeleton if you're looking once again at health and well-being, and if you're looking for where grandma hid the family jewels and you can't, she's passed away and you can't, I don't mean to upset anyone with this, but just she didn't let everyone know where she hid her money, and she wasn't one to keep her money in the bank. In our little story, this one would say, have you looked in the basement? Maybe there's somewhere down there. And other cards would support that in a reading, just to give you an idea of it. It's also a very powerful card, Ace of Spades. So where you had one, now you have two. And there's what goes on in between these two, because they're back to back. There's conflicts, arguments. They're not seeing eye to eye. And they have to move forward, they have to separate. So it can be a card of separation. It can be a card of leaving your job. And it's like this love-hate thing. It can be an argument, and there's been like a stalemate with that. Then we have three, where things are really restless because there's someone extra adding to the mix. There's confusion, arguments, he said, she said, interference, release of emotions. Also, there's something blocking the coming together. So this problem is growing with this card because, as I said, you've got the beginning, then things happen and work together or push apart, and then you go, things are growing, it's gone up to the next level. And then we have the Four of Spades, which is quite a stuck card if it comes up in a reading, because as you can see, things aren't good there. We're in a stalemate. It can represent someone who is, it would have been lockdown, jail. It can be like a coffin if you're looking at it. I know whether you're reading tarot, playing cards, anything about death, but it can be the end of something. And no reader in these modern times, to my knowledge, will say, next Friday, don't go crossing the street because anything could happen. Where I knew readers, in the 80s and the 90s that were old school readers that were a little bit like that, because it added to the, the sort of intrigue of getting your cards read with the reader back in those days, where these days it's a big, not very good to do that with anyone. So it can be stagnation, but it can be illness and a standstill. But the client will tell you, a card will come up that's difficult, and you say, look, these cards are difficult at the moment. I don't know whether you're going through a difficult time or there's a difficult decision to make up the track, and the client will come forward and say, yes, you're right, my aunt died in the family, we're all suffering from the loss of it, and now all the family are fighting with each other over the will, and it's just not pleasant at all, and things are moving slowly rather than working together and getting on with it. So the client will talk if you just say, look, these cards don't look really good and I don't know what to say, but as you can see, it's looking that, and you just talk a little bit like I just did then. I hope that helps, because cards can be difficult, and a lot of times people you do get people coming to you for reading that will go, oh yeah, that's nice, we're about to open a business and it's all lovely and we got our money and it's all going well and we just want to confirm what we already know, and that's lovely. Then you will get more times than not people coming for a reading that are troubled. They're in a trough in their life and things aren't sailing as smoothly as they would. So there you have it. So this is stagnation. Get caught on that card a lot because it can be a difficult card. And then with the 5, you've got the movement. So you might have had the stalemate of the stagnation. Everyone's standing with their arms folded and it's all slowed down, but then something breaks and it's all going to happen. The separation becomes the divorce. There's anger's gone to a whole new level, and because you're cutting someone out of your life with this card. Because remember, spades are swords and they're sharp, they're pointy, and they can be quite nasty. So you need to watch your back when this card comes up. I don't know whether I said the elements, but winter, earth, north. It can be someone with a sense of isolation, and if it's beside a person card, and it's sort of going to describe them, and it can be a sense of isolation, and it can be like self-destructive behaviour, but none of this is set in concrete because it's all to do with the context of your question and surrounding cards around it. But this is like the bare basics of it all. And also you can be taking on more than you can handle, because here you are here, you got this happening in this corner, this happening in this corner, this happening, and you just feel like piggy in the middle. So it's taking on more than you can handle as well. So sometimes you can just look at the card, knowing that it's a Sharpie negative card, unpleasantness, and then just figure out, well, what am I seeing here? Then you have the 6, once again the train tracks, and you've decided to let go, let flow as best you can, but you realise it's a bad decision and you've got to do a clean up here, and you'll just think, that's it, I'm out of here, I'm hitting the road, and you let go of this situation. I've made the wrong choice, you're right, it's either, my way or the highway, I'm taking the highway. And it also can be travel problems, particularly in this time. People frustrated wanting to get back to where they want to go, and travel's not flowing as well as it could be, and it can also be the card of divorce. So then you have the 7 of spades, and it's lots of trouble. There's another level of trouble added to this, and it's going down deeper the way I put that card. So you have to be guided by your own intuition as how bad is this going to get. Maybe you've got to escape everyone for a while and lay low until things die down a little bit, because they're at a standstill, there's a lot of frustration, and you are, once again, you're in the middle, but you can escape out with this one. And someone is not telling the truth. Someone's more negative than the rest of them. So there's loss and setback with that. Then we have 8s once again. Sorry, I'm moving them there with the camera. And this can be a lot of fear and a lot of harmony, because while it's a sense of stagnation as well, because it's all in a pattern, it's not necessarily flowing like the 6s are when they do. It can be papers that you have to sign, but you don't want to go and sign them together. When you both got to go and sign papers and in a divorce, and you have to both turn up at a situation that's unpleasant, and you feel trapped because of the conflict and the hurt feelings, if you like, and the loss of harmony, and the atmosphere is quite poisoned with this, there's lots of poison arrows. And then with the 9, things can just get that little bit worse with the 9 of spades. I think that's that worry card, and the guilt, and there's delays and injuries, and you've worried yourself sick. You're there in the middle of the night, feeling isolated and alone and worried. and because it's things have just gotten that extra bit worse. So it can be a nightmare too. Well, it is a living nightmare for some. Then we have the 10, and this is just the ultimate the ultimate trouble and stress and grief. And it's often a violent card. It could be a gang of people fighting. It can be sense of being in prison and locked down once again. Theft. It's a nighttime worry card. And it can also leave you not feeling good about a whole situation and working through what people used to say pity, but I think that's a little bit harsh. I sort of think it's more working through the dross, if you like, that sort of sticks to the side of you after an unpleasant experience. Because you can feel a little bit like a victim, and quite often in this card you are the victim, and it's not nice. However, being a 10, it's that sense of completion. It can't get any worse. Tomorrow's another day. Let's just hope the sun comes up tomorrow, and it always does. Then you have the people. Now, this Jack of Spades is a nasty, spiteful person. He can be a rival, and they can be he or she either. I know they call them he's, but these days it might be just a young person that's a rival, manipulative, can be wearing a uniform with this one, and often they're the office spy. They're very emotionally controlled, and they're listening at the corners and running back and telling, because it makes them feel good. And also they can be very, what do you call them? The psychopath of the office. And here we have the Queen, and she is very intelligent, very manipulative. She likes to act alone, and she's a rival. She's often plotting, and as I said, secretive, spy, the same sort of stuff, just an older woman with it all. She can be the other woman. In the Lenormand, it'd be the snake. And she thinks she's really clever at what she's doing, but I've always found sometimes it backfires, because very conniving, very ambitious. Sorry to talk about someone like that, but these are people in the real world. You only have to read Shakespeare or watch, I don't know what to watch. Dallas, that's going back a long time, to work out who's doing who to what stuff. And that's life. That's the archetypes, and that's life of what we all deal with. And then we have our king. Oh, by the way, I don't read reverses in any of mine. I don't need to. But some books will give you reverses. It's just up to you. I don't read reverse in tarot, Lenormand, Kipper, or any other fortune telling deck. So I don't with playing cards as well. But that's personal choice. That's something I choose to do. So there you have it. Because you get enough negativity with the spades when you mix the deck together, and the hearts. It's not like you're doing a reading with just all the hearts, although there are techniques to do that. So here we have the king, and he is a controller. He can be a male witch too. The spades, oh, by the way, the spades people can be the witches. Maybe good, bad witch, where the queen of hearts might be the good witch. Bad, yeah. You want to get witchy with it all. Jealous, arrogant, possessive, likes to be in control, spiteful, and also opportunistic. And he's a spy as well. They come in all shapes, sizes, and sexes, these people. So beware if the old King of Spades turns up. So I just thought at the end of this, I hope that's, oops, sorry about that. Got a little bit of happening. I'll gather them up. Apologies for that. I might have forgot to put off with the video capture. What's the one doing it? Just want to configure it. Camera control. Focus. Just fix that. Okay, and then do this one because this one's still pulsating and it can be quite annoying, and I apologise I didn't fix camera control. Apply. Okay, there we go, it's shut up. Fixed up, if you like. So I thought I'd sort of put this spread at the end of it because it's a handy little spread, because a lot of times you're wanting to know what someone else is thinking. So you find your person through your deck, and just say you've been for a job, or you might want a loved one, but anyway, we'll say you've been for a job and you find your person, your King of Clubs, and I will really mix the deck up because I had them all out in order for talking about them, and do that. And you think, oh, I've gone for that interview and I was just wondering what they thought of me and what their move's going to be. But it might be a dating question you're asking. It might be anything that you're wondering. I wonder what they're thinking. What's their next move? You might have met someone, been out for a drink, and then wonder, I wonder what he thinks of me. So, basically cards are about our interactions with people. We don't ever do a reading to ask what our dog's thinking of us. We might these days, because I know people do pet readings, but that's more in a different line with spirit and stuff. So I shouldn't just rule that out. So here we have our person, and we'll just pretend that you've... Oh, that brightness needs fixing. Oh, I can't believe this. Let's see if that works better. Just have to do the best I can. I should put the light a bit too far. So here we have our King of Clubs. You've met this person, whether it's a job interview, whatever, and and you're wanting to know. So then you pick out who it is. It can be male, female, young, old, whatever. And you're thinking, oh, what do they think? I'm wondering. And when you're ready, you've shuffled it the way you like to shuffle. You've cut the deck how you like to cut the deck. You put a card above, a card below, a card to the left, and a card to the right. So he, at the moment, doesn't think very much of you at all, but he was probably going by this. I would say he's a little bit stuck in his ideas of what he thinks he wants in a worker. He's a bit cautious about making the decision about the employment. These are his thoughts. And he might be just someone being him in his possible depressed state that you may not have noticed in the interview, because might have been the end of the day and you've seen a lot of people, and he's seen a lot of people and he's just sort of tired and he needs time because this is a slow process. So his thoughts is all, I'm not going to make a decision straight away. But what he doesn't realise, and he's sort of stepping on or unconscious to knowing or hasn't thought of, if you like, is that you might be going for lots of other jobs and he could lose you very quickly because you ain't going to sit still and wait forever to let them know if you got the job, because you, being the 6 of diamonds, it could be that you need to get on and get employed because you want to keep your finances rolling back on track and going, though that's with this, without a question. You remind him that maybe you're too young for the job, and he's sort of a bit cautious about that. And yet, knowing that people can be very experienced and in demand, he's still going to be a little bit slow to act. However, what he did like was that it's a speaking card, so you managed your interview very well. You stood out from the others, and he will make his judgment for you, possibly, because he sort of will just thinking, well, she's a maybe. In this case, in this reading, so that's their thought. So whenever a card, predominantly if you're using block cards, not just a straight string, when you're doing a reading, I hope this helps. I just thought I'd sort of throw this in. Whatever is above your significator is what their thoughts are, what they want, what's going on in their head. What have they missed? What have they sort of don't know that they don't know? What are they worried? What is it that's worried really behind what's worried about? All in this case, I think you're thing, but however, he will make his judgment as soon as he can, because he knows he's got to get on with it, and there's other people as well. So in this case, I would either put another card on top or take the card at the bottom. And with the card at the bottom, you've got your wish. You're going to get the job. Had it been a different card, like this one, a maybe again, and it's going to take a little bit of time to sort out, I'd say, well, what can I do to get this sorted out more? I know, be in contact with them and stay, if you really want it, be in contact with them, follow up, and create that good relationship. Or if it was Spades, I'd say just move on and let it go, because he's stuck. So I hope that helps in an idea for a reading. If you have any questions, just please email me, and I'd like to thank you for watching, and thank you for your comments, and thank you for your subscriptions, because I will be putting more content up. I've just got to sort of email me what you want, contact me with what you want, and I'll do my best to put some content up for what you might like that will help. So there you have a spread. You have your significator, their thoughts, what they're missing in the whole thing, hadn't thought of, what they concerned about, don't like, that sort of thing, but what they do like and how they will act next, because that's like a future-y thing. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.